Welcome to Big Blend Radio with travel writer Linda Kissam, the food, wine, and shopping diva. All right, everybody, you know Diva Linda is all about all in good taste. So go to her website, allingoodtaste.info. But she loves to travel in style. And she is joining us today to talk about sailing in style. She went on an 8-day yacht club flotilla. I want to say flotilla. I don't know what's right, but flotilla, Diva Linda, this is great. But you and Alan literally do this all summer. So what's the difference between normal sailing and a flotilla?
So normal sailing would just be Alan and I on our boat. We have a Ocean Alexander for those people who are into boating. It's about 52 feet. And we just go from here to there, and the actual, we're sort of living his dreams. So in the summers, we live on this Ocean Alexander, and we go way up into Canada to fish, way, way, way up. So, and that we would do by ourselves, and we would likely meet up with other friends that are there, but not in a formalized manner. In a flotilla, which is organized by a organization such as a yacht club, which we are a member of now. We're trying this out this year. And so somebody is an event coordinator within the organization. They decide what the itinerary would be. This one that we joined was 8 days. It started in Canada, right where you go to customs in Bedwell Harbour. And then the most boats they take is 10, because otherwise it gets to be really unruly, because when you call and tell the harbor you're bringing in 10 boats, they, during the high summertime, they, So anyway, so a flotilla has an itinerary, you know where you're going, and everybody goes. It's kind of funny. So they'll say from Bedwell, we're going to go to the next stop, and you need to be there by tomorrow. And so you have fast boats, you have slower boats, you have medium boats, and everybody just gets to the point on the itinerary. And then when you get to that point, then there's an activity plan generally. So there's either a cocktail party, or there's some sort of beachy thing, or something. There's something to do so that you're interacting with other members. So it is by yourself or with many others, and that's the difference.
And so you did this all through joining a yacht club, which is interesting to me, because I mean, there's yacht clubs around the world, right? And I have a lot of friends who are members of yacht clubs, and actually our band back in the day, our first gig was at a yacht club in Mexico. So anyway, but the regulations, how do you become a member of that yacht club is you either have a yacht, you know someone who has a yacht, or you've seen one. That was it was a drinking, expat drinking club.
Yeah, well, it's very interesting. You have to be very careful, and you have to research what makes sense to you personally. So having been an event coordinator myself, and having lived in gated communities and Gulf communities, you begin to understand that, and if you're going to go with a yacht club, there are basically two types. Those that own real estate, so they would own a clubhouse and a restaurant. Generally, that's the way it works. Now, if you join one of those, your dues is going to be supporting those two things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very expensive. So you can, and those generally have very, very, very nice events, and they're made for people who can afford a higher level of luxury or want to do that. So that yacht club might cost you $10,000 to $20,000 a year.
Mm.
Now, is that what you want? Is that not what you want? There's perks on everything. We looked around, and I did not want to join a yacht club that said you have to eat at our restaurant 3 times a year. Now, they do that because they've got to get people in there to support the restaurant so it doesn't go under. I didn't want to do that. That's like living on a golf course and paying. And if you're not a golfer, you still have to pay for grooming the grounds and stuff. So we looked, and we finally found one that we thought was made sense to us. They have events. It's called the Roche Harbor Yacht Club. So Roche Harbor is a very famous tourist destination in the San Juan Islands. And this particular yacht club does not own real estate. It doesn't have a clubhouse, and it doesn't have a restaurant. It just calls Roche Harbor its by name. I don't know. I guess probably the people who started it were from Roche Harbor, but there's no real estate, so I don't have to pay for that. So that's good. So basically you're paying
She has to get her diamonds first.
There you go. So you have to
She wants her sparklies.
Yes, you have to pay about $400 for initiation, and you have to pay then every year you pay about the same amount as dues. But if you're smart and you use the benefits, and here's the benefit. So if you're traveling around and you don't want to be what's called on the hook or out in the bay on anchor, which me, I don't like that necessarily. I like to go into port. So when you park your boat in a marina, it's generally about, depending on the boat, they charge you by the size of your boat. So it's about $125 a night.
Wow, so that's like a hotel room.
It is exactly like that. So if you are a member of a yacht club, they have what's called reciprocals and outstations. And basically it just means that you can go, there's some spaces in some marinas that are set aside for your association as well as others. Sometimes it's a joint thing, and you don't pay. So
that makes good financial sense.
So this year we've already accumulated our money back that we paid out for dues by using these free spaces. So that's a big deal. That's a smart use of your money, and it's really nice because generally you'll see other people in the club are there and so forth and so on. But that's about how you do a yacht club. I like to call it a boating club, but
so it's really social, but then also coming together over things. You know, like some churches come together for health insurance. It's weird, right, but it's true, right? Chambers of Commerce do this. They do fundraisers by going on trips and getting group discounts because you have a group traveling to Italy. Now, apparently you played rubber ducky. I've been dying to ask you about this all day. I want to know about rubber ducky. You talked about the different events. That was one. I want to know about this. You
so
played rubber ducky?
Was at a very tiny marina. It had one building. So you would dock, and then there's one building to go up to, and that building serves for ice cream, which was very, very popular. And on your way, and tiny souvenirs, and I mean, so it's like not a big building at all. So on the way up from the dock to the building, these ladies had this rubber ducky contest going on. So everybody that went by, and the other boaters in our group already knew about this, and they thought it was grand fun and we should do that. So the rubber ducky thing, I think, was to support the local schools. And so, you know, it's a regular thing. You buy 2 for $5, 2 ducks. I thought it was very cute. They had a lot of little rubber ducks that you could choose from. Some of them had hats on them, some were painted, some were not. Now you don't get to keep them. You just get to choose which one is yours, and then they take the numbers down. And then at the end of the day, they take all these ducks that they've sold and they put them in the marina. It's sort of a downward slope, and they throw them in, and whoever floats first to the end. So they have a net so that these things aren't going everywhere. And unfortunately I didn't win, but it was fun to watch. You know, they dump all this stuff in and people are yelling, come on number 87, come on number 32. These are small ducks. You can't really see what the hell's happening, but it's fun. And it's, once again, it's a group activity. It's where you get to know your people. It's all wonderful.
And it raises funds, right?
It raises funds, and why not? And I didn't know they needed funds for Canadian schools, but I'm in for it. All good.
Hey, if you're gonna, I'm sorry, but if you get to play rubber ducky, I'm in 100% because they're so cute. Did you name yours, or did you just leave it at the number?
I just left it at the number because it took so long to pick one, because they were all so darn cute. You know, blue hat, yellow hat.
Oh my gosh!
Bow tie.
Did you get yours back when you were done? Or is it that?
No, you wouldn't do that as an event coordinator. You wouldn't do that because the ducks cost a lot of money. They have to be strong enough to withhold people dumping them over the rail and into water. So they hit the water and then they
Okay.
then they go down and they're going to get hit by stuff in the marina and so forth. So no.
Okay. I just want to know. I want to play.
You want to play it? It's wonderful. It's fun, and people, as I said, they're yelling, "Come on, number 87" or whatever, and it was just fun. It's just a group activity. You get to know your fellow people. I mean, everybody on the island could play it. It wasn't like it was just for us. It was for everybody, but it was grand fun, and that's what you're
I
looking
think
for, fellowship.
that's it. There's fellowship, but it's also because you guys have chosen this way of life for this season. Some people do things, year round, and move to another location, during the winter because you're in the Pacific Northwest. But this kind of lifestyle, it's the same thing as people doing the van lifestyle, the RV lifestyle. Look at us as a pet sitting lifestyle. We love talking to other pet sitters. Like, what did you do when this happened? It's like, if you want to know about pee stains and dogs, bring it. I've got it. All I can say is travel with hydrogen peroxide. It's your best friend. But you have these ways of travel and everybody does it in a different way. And on water is, I mean, you're in the elements. There's got to be a little element of fear that happens. And so when you get together with others, you're kind of celebrating that you're making it through. But part of the adrenaline comes from like the oh crap moments. Am I allowed to say
Well,
that?
it is very true. And I'll tell you, in Canada, this is a huge place, as everybody knows. It's a beautiful place, but the weather is a huge issue. And the wind is not a boater's friend. Wind makes choppy waves. Waves make the boat go this way and that way. And I think, as I was telling you on this just like 3 or 4 days ago, we hit the weather service said you have a window to get from point A to point B. If you stay where you are, you're going to be where you are for another 7 days because there's storms coming in. This is another thing. You might think that you're going someplace. Yeah, but you're going to stay there. We already had to stay an extra 3 days where we were to get through one set of storms. And so the weather service said, okay, now you can go. But you get out into these straits, which are close to the oceans, and you really don't know. So this last time it was pretty rough. It wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be about 1 to 2 foot waves. After you get 2 and over, it gets rocky. Now my husband loves it. He drove big commercial ships for a long time, and nothing bothers him. Who cares if the dishes are thrown out of the place, and if the cabinets are flying open and the microwave is on the floor, oh well, that's okay. I'm screaming, oh, I'm gonna die. But anyway, this last time we didn't even know it. That's so funny. We lost the pole that holds up our solar panels and the American flag that was attached to this whole thing. It's floating out in the middle of Canada somewhere, but that's because it was bumpity bump, and it rattles the boat. Stuff comes apart. I don't know. The other day he left a cap open on the shampoo, and of course, what happened on the first bump?
Yeah.
Oh, just everywhere. But that it is the elements, just like you said. So just have to be a bit flexible in that.
I don't want to tell you what our car has gone through with the potholes in our country on the roads. I know about the bumpity bumps and anyway, or squirrels trying to make a nest in my air filter. But anyway, that's a whole other story. Seriously, it is.
Misha and Nicole. They had a big family up there. You know how Joshua Tree is. Yeah, it was expensive.
Yes, and I've been through that electrical thing, and at that time you go like, do I really want this car anymore? It's like, but I'm not getting, she's my friend, but floating out on the flotilla. So when the weather changes, you're going as a group. So this becomes kind of a group element. You're all having to deal with whatever's going on. And even though they had some of the activities, there was one time that you and Ellen had to sit out because your boat wasn't fitting in this slip, and now I'm going at anchor, but you've
that was awful.
Been there before.
Yeah. So when this is the issue, let's say you're bringing in 10 boats into a marina, which that's basically what this flotilla was. So the marina has X amount of spots, and in high summer, most of them are filled, and so they have good spots and they have bad spots. We arrived a little later than everybody else, so when we got there, we were in Ganges, Salt Spring Marina, for those of you who know that. The wind had picked up to such an extent that boats just glide. You know, the wind hits them and they just go this way and they go that way,
boy.
and you can't stop them. I mean, if you have those boaters who know, if you have thrusters, you have at least a fighting chance. But anyway, they assigned us a spot that had a large, wide sailboat in it, and we're a fairly large vehicle boat ourselves, and with the wind we couldn't do it. We just couldn't make that turn. And they also had allowed a small boat to be too close to us, so we couldn't make the turn. And so we said, well, we can't have that one. And they said, okay, well, then tie up over here. So then we go over there. Now, remember, the wind is going and people are on the dock yelling, here, go, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, this is good. What a charade.
Well, everybody thinks they can drive a boat when they're walking around on the docks. That's not the way it works. And this is a big boat, so you gotta be careful. So then they assign us another spot. And lo and behold, there's another small boat that has gotten in there that wasn't supposed to be there. So we couldn't get in. It was
wow. So this is actually kind of an issue that you guys have to face. And do you start writing letters to people going, hello, can we not have this happen?
Well, as a matter of fact, so we had to back out. Now, remember, you're doing all this in this wind, and anyway, so good thing my husband knows how to do this. Anyway, so everybody else got a spot that they could get in, and the boats were from 39 feet to 65 feet. So
whoa, so this is like truck size.
Yeah, so there's also castle size. Yeah, so there's all sorts of different boats. So we had to go out on the hooks. We had to go out in the marina, and the wind was blowing us and blah blah blah. But those are just adjustments you make, and so it wasn't great that Salt Spring Marina charged us for that night.
Uh-oh, so, they riled the diva.
Wrote them a note, and they don't care. It's your job to get that boat in there. Well, if you can't get a boat in there, you can't get a boat in there. I mean, that was real silly. So then our yacht association wrote them a letter. It was luckily the guy that was the event coordinator is also an attorney. He wrote a very nice letter just saying, is this really what you want to do? Refuse to. I mean, you're going to charge them for something that they couldn't even do, and blah, blah, blah. But they stuck to the gun, so we got charged for a night. But those are just things that, every day is a new adventure.
And that is travel. So I know we're talking some of the negatives here, but it's kind of part of the story. All the negative stuff ends up being part of the fun stories at a cocktail party later, right? It's so true. Well, and that's why you want the flotilla. So you can go,
that's right. It's somebody to commiserate with, and later we found out that a couple of boats had a really hard time docking as well. They finally made it, but it was touch and go for them as well. But these are just like you said, they're sort of like learning lessons, right? So would we go back to that marina? I don't know. We'd have to be very cautious. I don't know.
Wow. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing too. It's kind of like you can't really burn bridges, and we have like that as we travel to. Oh, we'll never. That's not. No, we've had to do that with hurricanes this year. We've been messed over so many times. 1 week, like go, stay, go. This is gone. That and we work as we travel, so this is not a fun thing. You can't. It's like stay here longer. Okay, but where and how? What? So you have to be prepared for that as travelers. And those bumps in the road change to say sometimes the bump keeps rolling. And then you're like, okay, I've gone through three bumps now. We're done. And then you go, okay, we're done. But other people who travel like you understand. So the commiserating just becomes funny. It's because the benefits outweigh the drama, right? benefits are so big, the
yeah.
fun and
Boating
the
is
joy.
beautiful. Yeah,
And
boating
going to
it
these
gets a
ports and being able to just walk off and go shop, go to the farmer's market and do those kinds of things, come back and eat local and go to these little villages. It seems like each port area, you just get off and you go to a little village and you can do
right
laundry. Now, do you do laundry on the boat or off the boat? I'm
on the
curious
boat.
about laundry.
On the boat.
Whoa. That's that's amazing.
Well, you only have to do laundry off the boat a couple times and come back with spots on your clothing, and laundry facilities aren't always the best. So they make wonderful little washing machines. They're washer dryers all in one unit, and that are for boats, and they can be outside on your back deck, and they just give you a cover for it and stuff. They're very slow. So one wash load will take 3 hours to wash and dry, but it's all on the boat. You can control it. And this year, along with whatever the generator issue and the sewage issue, the door to the washing machine, a little tiny pin broke, and that meant that the door wouldn't close. So, God love YouTube. You just look up on YouTube, how did anybody else solve this? And somebody said, well, drill this hole and do this and that. And luckily Alan is good at all this stuff, and he fixed it. I mean, it's not a fix forever, but it's a fix until we get back.
I have learned how to change filters on washing machines, how to fix hoses and sinks, like actual faucets that hang down.
Yeah.
I've learned how to do things to cars that I didn't know that I knew how to do. I have learned so much. And at this point, because we pets it as we travel, right? I need to start doing an article, like a column on appliances, the good, the bad, the ugly. And there's certain vacuums that are better than others. All I can say is when it comes to the coffee machines, though, I'm up on a kilter somewhere going, I don't know, because like people have all kinds of coffee machines that it looks like you now run a bar or something. And that's a little too much. It's like more than computers. But it's really interesting how these ways of life are, and you start learning things you had no clue you would know about. I mean, 20 years ago, do you think you'd be on a show talking about having a washer dryer on your boat?
No, not at all. No.
But you learned that you needed one.
And you also learn very quickly not to put flowers in a glass vase when you're traveling. That was my first lesson. Just made this it's like a torpedo, broke.
Wow.
Never did that again. So
how do you handle the wine? Like, do you not get bubbly and stuff like that? Like with the wine? Because I know before you in the other boat, you had it underneath, right? So it's keeping nice and cool.
All boats have a place like that. Yeah. So with this one has it as the same. So it comes out at just a perfect temperature. It's wonderful.
Wow. So what if you have bubbly? Like, is that a danger? I mean, with all the rocking and everything with wind?
Well, you have to make sure. I mean, Alan's got some sort of system down there that holds all these bottles so they don't clank on each other or tip and all that. So they're very secure. Sort of looks like a shoe tree, a shoe where you put your shoes in, like that sort of thing. Yeah. So it works out just fine. The wine is protected. It comes out chilled just perfectly.
Because I think it's kind of you're on the water, and then RVers have that same thing. Like, you don't want your fridge flying open because you went over a pothole. It's like all of that kind of stuff. But being self-contained on your own trip is pretty cool, right? I mean, if you have to sit it out during a storm, at least you're self-contained. When your generator works, that's okay. When it's not, and you have no solar, that's not fun. But you could make it fun.
Well, the solar is working. It's just that we can't. The solar needs to go up and the solar needs to go down depending on where you're traveling. I think the solar is up, and it's not. There's no way to get it down because we lost the pole. The pole was something Alan manufactured, so he's going to have to go back and do it again. I mean, it's just crazy. These are just. And I asked him, doesn't this bother you? And he said, no, it's very exciting. It's all part of a wonderful
because I gets to do a whole new thing. It's boys with their toys.
loves it. And, I sort of, hold my breath when, you say, how much was that? And, how much is this going to cost? But boating is expensive, very expensive.
And then you go, by the way, it's my birthday.
Yes.
I would like my bracelet. I would like,
my diamond. Yeah.
Yes. Well, when you do the flotilla, so when you have the camaraderie, you have the fellowship. So when you're there connecting with everyone, are there, wives more into it than the husbands at all? Or is there is it like different for, is there couples or they're just solo people? What's that like?
Very good question. It's mostly couples. And in this particular one, we have a quite a big element of couples with children.
Oh,
lots of couples with dogs.
Wow.
Some cats. And
cats.
And the age range is all over the place. And it's mostly a male oriented sport. I will tell you that. And the men just they're fascinated with who's doing what with their boat and all that. And Alan has a very interesting background in NOAA and all that sort of stuff. So they're all fascinated with that. And he was in that secret part of the Navy, and they all thought that's, it's all very exciting. So the wives are, you have to dig a little further. You have to find out who they are and how they come to this. And it's the husband's hobby, and the wives either adapted or they didn't. In fact, I had to laugh. I was walking down the dock today, and there was two men walking in front of me, and one of them was saying he's going to have to do something about he has going to get a different boat because his wife just is over it. She doesn't want to come out every weekend on the boat. And he likes to go out every weekend on the boat, but handling a boat by yourself is very difficult. Mm-hmm. Probably, especially if you're gonna take it to a marina. So docking is quite an experience. Actually, it's I don't know. I used to hide, but now I understand it a little bit better. But so the answer is the husbands, the men seem to have an instant connection, an instant camaraderie. The wives, you have to dig just a little bit deeper.
Because it's like, yeah, because I get it. Well, but at the same time, it's like they're out there doing the steering and everything. But to me, this is like trying to park a truck. I see now I have a thing about truckers, like because of all the driving I do. And there's some that should just never be allowed to even think of it again. But I'm going to say 90%, 85 to 90% are amazing on roads and have been like a guiding light in many times. And so whenever I see them park, like Nancy and I'll go to a rest area and things, right? And you watch how they can parallel park and do all these different things. And I'm amazed. And then you'll see a woman get out as the driver, and you're like, round of applause. I get all excited. And then they just look at, I'm all like, oh, look. And then they give you the look like, don't you be looking at me. And I'm like, I didn't mean anything. I'm just excited.
I'm excited for you.
But Nancy and I want to get CB radios.
Yeah, you don't see very many women. You rarely see a boat with only women. The one that almost crashed into us, or actually at the beginning of the season, I posted something about she lost her steering or something, and her boat was going all over the marina, heading right towards us. Luckily, we were able to push it away. But that's about the only boat in all the years we've been doing this that I've seen two women be on there.
And they have to be the ones going out of control.
Yeah. But I just think a lot of boating in particular is something that you need to get into when you're younger, so you're more flexible about it. So my husband has a boating background from when he was tiny up to the big ocean ships that he used to do and so forth. And then comes me, who go to the beach. That's about it, or the swimming pool. So, he has a better appreciation and comfort level. And sometimes you find that with the other women as well. They're all saying, if he dies, the boat goes. First first thing that goes is the boat. I'm selling
They're
the
going to
damn
be
boat.
buried in the boat. Yeah, that's it. Take them out to sea. You know, when what is the communication like? Because like I was saying, we want to get CB radio so we can say hi to truckers, which is probably not a good idea. But I don't trust Nancy, right? I do not trust Nancy with a CB radio. But when we lived in Kenya, we had little ham radio things in the neighborhood to everybody, and we were rubber decky. That was our name. See, it is. That's why. So anytime I see a
Oh,
rubber
I
ducky,
see.
I get excited. Um, when you do a flotilla, I mean, so I know you're able to do the podcast and everything. You're doing it in video, which is amazing, right? So you do it when you get into an area where there's Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff. And like an RV park, they have Wi-Fi stations. Like
Well,
you have,
I'll tell you this.
okay,
Life has changed in the last 2 years dramatically. Lifestyle has changed with Starlink.
okay. So
So
Starlink, okay.
everybody now has Starlink.
That's what
And
everyone
that
has
has,
on RVs too.
yeah, it's just changed everything because you don't need somebody else's Wi-Fi. You can on boats you can be out in the middle of nowhere and you have to pay for it, of course, but you can have Starlink out in the middle of the ocean. Starlink is everywhere. There's very little places that you go that have a blackout. There are some of the bays, some of the ones way up, but Starlink has really changed everything because you can have all the internet you want, all the TV you want. I
What?
mean, it's
You can
just
what? You can stream Netflix in the middle of the
absolutely.
ocean
I
in your
watched,
boat.
absolutely. That's right. Uh, yeah, every night is movie night or TV
Well,
night
Linda, get
or
back to work right now. Just kidding. I'm kidding. We're recording on her birthday. We can't do that. But so you don't need CB radios or anything like when you're on the flotilla to keep in
well,
communication with the rest? Or do you
they
use
use
phones?
the regular thing that's the traditional thing where you can call from boat to boat. So there's one channel that is open only for emergencies, and so when anybody's in trouble, everybody knows that's a channel you listen to. Like the other day, we're listening to it, and somebody reported that a dock had come off because of the wind and was floating out in the middle of the water. And so there's an emergency channel that you can call or you can listen to calls. And then it has lots of other channels that you can go on to talk to. So the event coordinator generally says, we're going to be on, let's say, channel 77. So if you want to talk to me, just, but this thing is so well coordinated, you really don't have to do that. And most everybody just sends email because with Starlink, you can send email all day, all night.
Wow, life has really changed, huh? Wow, so you can do Wi-Fi calling on your phone that way?
I'm on Starlink right now. That's what allows me to do this and not break
Wow.
up too much. Now, the only thing about Starlink is they use some sort of term about best effort or something. So like when you're in a marina like I'm in, almost every single boat here has Starlink. And so that sucks the amount of bandwidth or whatever it's called. So it can get congested. So you might have a delay or two, but Starlink has changed everything. Used to, I mean, you can imagine the types of email systems that they used to have so that you could communicate with everybody. So unless you're out in the middle of God knows where, you pretty much have. And if your generator's working, it's now your generator's working, Starlink's not working. So there you go. You have to be careful about that.
Wow. Okay. So this is very interesting to me. We've done live radio shows off of a generator on a farm a couple years ago because of a tornado. And so things get wonky. I mean, we've been through hurricanes and tornadoes, wildfires. We've been through some of that kind of stuff. I mean, a little bit of everything. And when this airs, hopefully we won't be doing a hurricane. It's possible. Tropical storms are not anything to sit and go, it's only a tropical storm. Whatever's going in, it picks up speed. And it's like, Nancy and I were recently on a lake and on the outside of the lake. And It's beautiful, tranquil. People are boating and yachting. And I was thinking, I mean, like, Linda would like it here. It's pretty. We were taking care of a greyhound. We were walking. Oh, I fell in love with this dog so much. Anyway, I love this. The birds, the herons, the kingfishers, all the bird life, right? And then a storm rolls in and it turned into like an ocean. And the waves were spinning all over the place. And now I'm going, Diva Linda, what happens to you if this happens? What goes on?
Not
Because
good.
because it was weird because right before the storm, all the boats stopped. Everybody knew. And I'm like, what's going on? Everything got quiet. And then kaboom and boom. And then it went away and this beautiful sunset appeared and it was magical. And the storm was epic. I love storms and I track weather all the time. I'm like, if you don't do it, you're going to be in trouble as a traveler, especially these days. So, wow. So, last question. So, this is like an RV, but you're on the water, right?
Yep.
So water tanks and all of that is like, so you can take a shower. If you can do your laundry, you can take a shower on there. And so in a way, you don't have to go in and out of hotels. You've got this floating, your own bathroom, your own everything. That's kind of cool.
I can make a Christmas dinner in the kitchen.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they've got it down to such a science now. I mean, I guess that's why a lot of people are turning to living on a boat because it's less expensive than owning a house or.
Well, not $125 a night.
Well, isn't that? And who knew about that? That was the craziest thing that I had no idea because I kept saying, I want to go to port. I want to be in a port. I want to be in a marina. And finally, I said, do you know how much these things cost? What? They charge you? They charge you? But so this reciprocal thing that we have or outstations, which means you actually own space there, is a fabulous benefit to joining a yacht club. Once again, it's just do your research, see what's best for you, and then just like any other membership, Chamber of Commerce, anything, if you don't use it, it doesn't work for you. You have
exactly. You can't force
be involved. This particular yacht club has something every single month, all 12 months, whether it's snowing or whatever it is. They have an event.
Wow. Now have you ever considered going to the other coast, the other side of the country? I mean, that would be a pain with the boat to get it there. But I mean,
you wouldn't see me out doing that. No.
No, this is your thing. This is going to
be ocean traveling on a boat is, unless it's like a Viking cruise or something. No, thank you. No.
Okay.
The waves are really bad. No, even when we get close to being in the ocean here, it's unpredictable. And those, just like you were saying, one minute you're having a nice day, and the next minute the storm rolls in, or the waves start coming in prior to the storm. It's like a bathtub too. It doesn't always settle. So you might have a storm and then it's calm, but the water's still unsettled. It's very strange.
But it's got to be so cool to just kind of, it seems embryonic to me. Oh, I love the water because that's where we come from, right? In a weird way. So like, it's got to be calming at night to just kind of gently rock and just kind of, if the wind's down, right? I get it. But, is it just kind of peaceful?
Very peaceful and cocoon-like, because you're by yourself unless you are rafting with friends or you have friends close. So we've done it both ways. And I think, there's something to say for doing it by yourself and something to join in a club where there's organized activities. You can join or not join. You can do the whole thing or part of it or some of it. I mean, I think if you've been boating a while, I think it's a great thing to do, to join a yacht club. I'm really glad we did it. We should have done it much earlier, actually.
Oh, hey, you got many more years to do it. So, it's your birthday. I get to say that. You got lots of spinning around the water to do. So I love this.
Yes.
Diva Linda, I mean, I'm not going to do what you do with this, but I just find the way of life because you're living it. It's, it's temporary, but it's not. I mean, that's your home for a while. And I find it fascinating and awesome because there's a freeing element to it too. It's very freeing.
But certainly, it certainly keeps you flexible. This dual
Mm.
living, so summers here in the Pacific Northwest and winters in Arizona. It's a dual lifestyle. Sometimes I have to think now, which store am I going to here, or what, when you
I
shop
have
in
grocery
Canada,
cards from around the country,
do
like
you?
like yeah, because it helps you on gas and everything, like Safeway cards. I've got Harris Teeter
Yes,
and
yes,
Teeter in North Carolina in some areas. You got Ingalls. You got, I mean, I have a wall, and then Fred Meyer, I think, is up in the Pacific
yep,
Northwest.
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
like
and
Fred Meyer's, by the way. Just gonna give them. Sorry.
that's it. When you can't find something any other place, Fred Meyer's is a fabulous place to go.
It's
They're
true.
well stocked, they're nice, they're big, they're wonderful.
No, I think there's, you're getting to know an area as traveling and living in it. And you can't get more local than that. Like people want these experiences. Oh, I want to meet the locals. You meet the locals, but when you kind of live in a place for a little bit, it's just different, you
A
know?
little bit more time, yeah, it gives you a little bit more time uh to explore when you live in a place for a while. And now that we've done this a while, I'm getting to know the different ports and different areas that we're going to go on. When I hear the word strait, as in the Georgia Strait, I know that's something I'm probably not going to like because that's closer to the ocean and it rocks a lot and so forth. But this is just it keeps you flexible. I'll tell you that. I think
Mhm.
that would be your mantra as well. You would have to be very flexible in what you do and innovative. So if 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 you're in a place where the hose goes away and you didn't know how to put the hose back in your former life, you'll learn how to do it now, correct?
You have to. And I love that part when I can turn around now and say, "Oh, I know, I understand. It's forced me to be mechanical." Which I've always kind of had that brain, but not really. I'm organizational, but that doesn't mean I'm mechanical. But then my brain has had to say, grow up. Just grow up and open your mind. Stop your whatever saying that you can't and do. And you can. There's some things over our head. That's when you get the professionals. Don't mess with that.
It's interesting how some of it actually is intuitive. You've never done it before, but it sort of reminds you of something else. And you can
Mhm.
put all of a sudden you put two and two together and it works. That I find enjoyable. Like you look at a problem that you've never done before, but it's like something else. And you go, well, if I try this and twist that, don't you think it will do such and such? And
Mhm.
it does. And it's amazing. You go, oh, I did it.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's the adrenaline rush, right? And that's the thing. I mean, doing things that are out of the ordinary, but not because people lived this way for many years too, and in far harder ways, right? You got to think about all the people out on the ocean and now dealing with orca whales. I've been listening to all this stuff about orca whales playing with boats, and I'm like, Diva Linda, do you have orca? They're not whales. Orcas are not whales, sorry, killer whales, but they kill whales, but they are not killer. They're not
There's
whales.
thousands of rules about what you can and can't do with marine life. You have to be up on those at all times.
Oh, you'll get in big doo doo if you do anything
Big
stupid to a
trouble. You got
mammal.
to, oh,
Yeah.
you have to be very careful and, you just have to pay attention and the rules are there for a reason. There's tons of rules about the type of fish you can catch now. We never had that before. They shut down this year quite a few normal fishing areas that we've been to for years because the whales need more food. So they just say, you're
Wow.
upsetting the whales need more food, so you can't fish. I don't think anybody goes, oh, you can't do that to me. It's just, well,
Oh,
we've not had to do that before.
things
Okay,
are changing that way in all over, and yeah, it's changing. It's
it's
changing.
okay. Yeah, and it's okay.
And we
It's
can
it's
do
just at
things to
first,
help wildlife, I really
that's
am,
right.
we need to do that. And you're coexisting with them too, which I think is
At
another
first,
cool thing.
I would agree 100%. And
Mm.
you don't have to have this is just kills me. You don't have to have a license to drive a boat.
I know, right? Isn't that insane?
It's insane because there are rules, and if the other party doesn't know the rules, it becomes very scary. There's all sorts of little whistle things that you can do. One whistle says, one horn says, one blast of a horn says, "What are your intentions?" But if you haven't read the guidebook, you think somebody's being rude to you. And I can't tell you how many times we've had the finger because somebody thinks we're honking at them. Not honking at them. We're wanting to know, are you going to go behind us, ahead of us? What are you doing? I mean, it's very, so they should have licenses. You should have to have a,
yeah,
like a license.
When we started our tour of the national parks, it came from going to, there's so many reasons why it just all kind of hit us at once to do it. But it was we were in the Everglades and we went out with the National Parks Conservation Association out on the water, and they were talking about boating. And the gentleman that took us out, they were talking about how you couldn't drive your boats in certain areas because of nesting. So this time of year you can't do this. Do not honk your horns or anything. Then he taught us how to go trolling and poling. Of course, Nancy and I think this is now funny, you know us, stupid. So anyway, but he taught us all this boating stuff, and he let us know about that anybody can just have a boat and get on a boat and go wild, basically, without, there's rules and stuff. But like in the National Park Service, I mean, you've got to think they have manatees, they have crocodiles on one side. Crocodiles and alligators live in the same park in this country. It's the only place that it occurs. And there's only one section of the Everglades where the crocodiles live. And that's it for our country for now. Who knows when hurricanes happen, what animals come, like lionfish and stuff like that. And so, the mangroves got destroyed over people not understanding how to be gentle in and out. As you come in, be gentle. As you go out, be gentle. Because there's wildlife and sawgrass. I think it's sawgrass. Am I getting rivergrass? There's grass in the water. And that was the other thing, was about being good about the vegetation in the water, because that feeds all the fish and the wildlife. So it's really interesting to me, and I do not get it why you would not, need a license, because that is people drunk driving or drunk boating and stuff like that. I see that stuff everywhere we go, and I'm going, that's not cool.
It's not cool, and it's very frustrating when these boats are going at a good speed, right? And they're very heavy. They're like 44,000 tons. I mean, they're huge. And is that what you want to crash into you? I mean, it's just because there's a misunderstanding of who gets to go first. That's always the biggest deal, is me first, right? Just kind of like a
I'd rather hang up back to the end. Because if people are going to crash in front of you, let them do it in front of you or behind you, either first or last, because then you can have your distance. It's like people on the road who want to tail you. I'm like, I'll pull off, let you go. I do not want anybody driving near my car, period.
I'll tell you what's really scary is these huge ferries are, they have these schedules, and these little zippy fishing boats think it's going to be fun to go in front of them. They get slow. Those things don't slow down. The boats don't slow down. You can't put it in reverse. It doesn't work that way. And, so they're shouting at them. And I don't know why people take such risk, but
they do. Wow. Well, Diva Linda, you have quite a life. I love it. I love it. So you're on your way back now. So back towards Arizona soon. Any travel plans in the future?
I haven't just thought about home it. For a bit. I'm still trying to recover from this back surgery, so I think hopefully next year we'll see some stuff in Europe. I think that would be good. We'll just have to make sure that that I'm all recovered and all that kind of stuff. It would be a shame to go to Europe or any place actually and be limping around. So
no. And you got Arizona, to your backyard is an amazing state to explore and do it step by step, literally. Right?
Yep, lots of places to go and things to do, and all I need to do is just recover a little bit more and it'll be just fine.
Well, looking forward to our next podcast chat. We've got Robert joining us, Robert Schuler from
That's
Melissa's
right, Robert
Produce.
Schuler. Yep.
And you know what? I call him Roger all the time.
Oh, did you?
I know. It's so funny. He says, Lisa, why do you always call me Roger? And I said, because the first time was because I was also dealing with a Roger, and I deal with a Roger all the time from the Jefferson Highway Association. And he says, okay, Linda. And I said, well, people call me Linda all the time. He goes, no, they do not. The other day, somebody called me Linda, and I'm like, I need to record this and send it to Robert. So everybody stay tuned for the October. We've got Robert Schuler joining us, and let's just see how many times I call him Roger. All right. Well, Melissa's Produce is great. I can't wait. All right. Well, you take care, and we'll talk to you soon, Diva Linda.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio with travel writer Linda Kissam. Keep up with Linda at allingoodtaste.info. You can read her articles in Big Blend magazines and keep up with us at bigblendradio.com.